Mr. Speaker, the stance coming from outside the House is very simple. We don't believe that Russia should be further empowered. We don't believe that Russia should be given additional flows of income. We don't believe that Russia should increase its capital power insofar as its ability or its tendency to annex or to cause further harm to countries around it or the international community is existent. So a few rebuttals before I move on to my main substantials. So firstly, they talk to us about how our policy won't work because the EU is somehow really dependent on Russia. Well, yeah, the EU is dependent on Russia, but that's before Russia's annexation of Crimea. Right now, what's happening is that the EU abhors Russia's actions to the extent that it will go through any lengths to not trade in Russia anymore because it does not want its source of income to come from a country that has such an appalling behavior when it comes to treatment of its international brothers, Speaker. Now, currently EU is already finding alternatives to feed its oil supply, such as from the Middle East, which is also a very rich country with high oil resources. Therefore, we tell you that the EU is already in a progression of moving away from its need to depend on Russia in the first place. And secondly, they came up with another example to tell you how China won't listen. Oh, Mr. Speaker, we tell you that China won't listen even if our policy came through. Like, we can remove as many sanctions as we want. China won't listen to it anyway, right, Mr. Speaker, because China is China, and China is self-sufficient, and they don't really need, like, the trade is not really dependent on their side of the house anyway. So we tell you that China's not really, at most, a moot point under their side of the house. Mr. Speaker, we believe if the entire international community puts their back into it, it should be effective enough to ground Russia such that it will be able to not assert its weight as much as is currently possible. So I have two substances for the House today. Firstly, how outside the House helps to open up more opportunities for diplomatic discourse with a country as aggressive as Russia. And secondly, how outside the House further prevents Russia from growing out of control. Before I move on, any POIs? Perfect. Firstly, on how outside the House opens more diplomatic discourse. Right now, under status quo, we see that Russia isolates itself from the majority of countries. Russia refuses to sign a pact with UN to engage in effective discourse with Western powers or any other country to begin with. And it's known for a history of non-diplomatic actions, right? Shweta has already told you about how Russia's land grab of Crimea is already one of the largest examples and the most heinous examples of land grab, annexation, and invasion of a country ever since 1945. And we don't want something like this to ever happen again, simply because it upsets the balance of which the peace of the international community can be upheld. So, Mr. Speaker, I've already proven to you how Russia is known for its aggressive tendencies. Now I'm going to prove to you how outside the House better opens up more diplomatic discourse. What both sides of the House agrees on is that Russia's main source of income comes from oil exports. And we tell you, by cutting off Russia's ability to gain large amounts of revenue from its oil exports, it creates the need, or rather the tendency for Russia, to engage, or the propensity of Russia to engage in international relations, to engage in communicating the international community, simply because it knows that it can't survive on its own, simply because it knows that it's not as powerful by itself as it was before the sanctions took place. Now what this happens is that it opens larger opportunities, opens more opportunities for discourse between Russia as well as the international community, because now it has to communicate with the international community. It has to engage in diplomatic recourse with the international community if it wants to continue performing as well as it is currently. And we aim to remove the possibility of such violent actions like Russia's annexation of Crimea to be taken by Russia ever again, seeing that their largest flow of income in this case is oil. And we think that such a heinous action should never be repeated again, ever in history. So moving on to this ties in very nicely to my second point on how outside the House further prevents Russia from growing out of control. Now, currently we see under status quo, Russia's leading oil companies is currently seeking Western as well as European technology to further increase and to develop its technology to increase its outflow of offshore oil and gas resources, believed to lie under the Black Sea of shelf around Crimea. We tell you that this is the need that Russia currently needs these other countries, these foreign countries, to back itself up. And we think that our sanctions help to prevent these other countries from helping Russia out in its current need. Because we don't want Russia to increase its power tenfold. We don't want Russia to increase its power exponentially, simply because of its tendency to engage in violent behavior. And we think that, yes sir.
So you are going to destroy Europe just for the presumed benefit that you will cause Russia to come to the negotiating table.
So we are not going to destroy Europe. We are not as Hitler, right? We think that just because you prevent other countries from trading Russia doesn't mean the entire European Union will flounder, even like given the such benefits. Because the European Union will find other alternatives to seek oil, like I've already mentioned, Middle East. They are willing to trade with Middle East because Middle East isn't as heinous as Russia is to occupy other countries and to destroy their ability as well, right? And we tell you that that Russia currently needs a partnership with these other countries, these foreign countries, Western and European powers. And we think that such a partnership should be discouraged, principally discouraged outside the house, currently because the risk that this partnership will be fraught with risk of sanctions, as well as international landslides between Ukraine, Russia, and the rest of the international community. And we think that this is a potential harm that we want to eradicate, because these countries already have a disincentive to trade Russia, and we think that if we outside the house better perpetuate this incentive to further trade Russia in any other case in the future, right, Mr. Speaker? So we tell you that on the overall, outside the house better protects Russia, better protects the international community as well as countries occupied by Russia, because like countries occupied by Russia, such as Ukraine, already have a very existing problem, right? Simply because like the European Union and the Western powers already recognize that certain flights to Ukraine have been like prevented, and we tell you that this harms countries annexed by Russia. We tell you that this harms countries who deal directly with Russia, and we tell you that our house better protects their interests as well. So on the overall, outside the house protects countries around Russia from being attacked by Russia directly. Outside the house prevents these countries from floundering even more, and outside the house encourages Russia to engage in more effective and more productive political discourse. For all these reasons, we are extremely proud of Europe.
He spoke for 6 minutes and